Alright, so once you download the zip file and you unzip this, you will have a bunch of R Markdown and HTML files in that subdirectory. We will open example01 RMD file first. If you want to take a look at the output of this file, click on example01.html, which is already knitted for you, so you can view in the web browser, and this is how it is going to look like. So it is basically, as you can see, that I'm literally taking the default layout with that chart A, chart B, chart C. I'm not even changing the names of the charts, right? And I'm just literally putting Diamond's data set in that or the plots using Diamond data set in those three panels. So let's go back here and take a look. As you can see that I'm not changing anything here. Of course, I'm adding that library ggplot2, which is required. But after that, you see that I'm leaving this column data width 650. I have deleted, in this case, just to show you that even if you don't have a long dotted line there, that's fine. You just need basically 6 segments. Next, chart A, and here is a very simple plot. There's diamonds, AES, x equal to caret, y equal to price, and geom point. That's it. And then the second graph is where I have mapped cut to color of the points, and in third graph I have mapped clarity to color, and that's it. This is how you create a Flex dashboard. Now if you are curious, you can change the width and see for yourself what happens. For example, you might say, well, right now it is 650 plus 350, that is 1000 pixels. So what if I change it to say 500 and 500? Will that sort of like evenly split my dashboard into 2 columns? So yeah, sure, we can do that. Take a look at it. If you decide to do that though, in this specific case, it will take you a little longer to knit this document because of all the processing required to generate those 3 plots and with all the colors. So it takes a little longer to do that. If you want to speed it up, you could just randomly select some points rather than using all the 54,000 points in the geom in ggplot. As you can see that we are still at, okay, we are now in the last chunk. We are executing that. Okay, still running it. All right. Okay, there we go. Right. So now what happened here is that the width is now 50 and 50. Right. So is the same width we are using. So this is totally under your control, how much width you want to use. Another thing you'll see is that when you change the size of the window in HTML, you'll find is that it automatically rearranges the graphs, right? So remember, this is because again we have specified the width. So the width, if it is narrower than that, it is already, it has to start scaling it down and so on. But one of the things which is complicated in HTML is that HTML tends to reorganize stuff, and this is the reason why people prefer PDF, because PDF layout is fixed. But problem with PDF then is that PDF is not a text document, so then working with PDF is a nightmare. There is always a, like I would say, trade-off between using a HTML and a PDF document. I prefer always HTML. Okay, so I want to quickly show you a couple more examples, and then we will go back to Shiny. Let's see. I think there was an example I created where I have scrolling enabled. So I think it was that example 01_03 most likely. Yeah, there you go. In this example, the file name is example 01_03 RMD, and this is how the file will look like. Now don't worry too much about the title here. Definitely it is wrong. It is not Flex dashboard example 02. It should be example order 01_03. So actually let's do that. Write it under 01_03. So here we are saying orientation is rows. So what's going to happen is that Flex dashboard will start filling up your plots or whatever you want to display row wise. So row is important here. And then we are saying that we are not limiting it to the height, because one of the challenges is that with rows particularly is that if let's assume that you have 5 different graphs to show and you decide that you want to show them row wise. So if you do that and if you don't specify scroll, if you instead say fill, then it is going to use a fixed height. It is going to chop that page into 5 sections, and it is going to try to fit the plot in that small section. So there will be 5 plots, but then they will shrink and they will look really terrible. So in those cases, like usually I prefer to use scroll with rows, because then we are giving Flex dashboard the flexibility to create more or create wider rows if it needs to, and it can still manage it because we are saying that scroll is enabled. So let's see how this will look like. In this case, I'm starting off with row, right? So first row is going to have this chart A, and this is here I'm using MPG data set. Is going to be easier to manage. And then in the second row we are saying chart B, and it will have again another plot with MPG, and there is a third row. So it's going to be a very simple dashboard. So let's take a look at so I already knit this document, but even if you knit, it is not going to take long because MPG is a much smaller data set. So let's take a look at how this will show up. Okay, so let me also increase my window size. So you see that first graph is this, then we are scrolling, right? And so this scroll is automatically enabled for us. All we have to do is just say scroll. So there are 3 nice charts in one dashboard. So you can see that it's easy and it does a very good job. You might be wondering, what if you have to change the theme here, right? So the theme that you see here with that blue header may not be attractive to everybody. Maybe you want to use something else. Maybe you like a more plain theme. So in case of R Markdown, all the themes come from Bootstrap. So you can check the Bootstrap themes, but not all of them are imported into R Markdown by default. So they have, I think, a bunch of them that typically, I mean, the documentation is all mentioned. But if you know CSS, there is no limit literally. You can bring in any CSS that you want and provide that CSS document here in the header. If you provide that here, I think you have to give it not in the output but in the next line. You can provide that CSS file, and you can create whatever kind of dashboard you want. For example, if you want your company colors, if you want your company logo showing up on the dashboard, you can do that very easily. So this in this example though, I'm not using any specific theme. So let me show you how to include a theme, and that will be our last example for Flex dashboard. So let me pause here.